Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. And it is Saturday night, May the 30th. And I titled this video The Elephant in the Room because I'm going to broach a subject tonight which I consider meets the definition of the elephant in the room. And that is a subject which people don't like to talk about because it causes controversy or it's an uncomfortable subject to broach. But a year ago, actually, I think it was around June the 3rd, because June is Pride Month, and that's when we had the Pride Parade in Asbury Park, New Jersey, there on the beach. And I filmed it, and I lost a lot of subscribers because I filmed that video and posted it on my channel. But I don't regret it because I felt like if somebody was that bigoted and felt the way that they did about me filming the Pride Parade and not being in agreement with my beliefs on equality for all, then it's okay that they um, left my channel. I got a lot of nasty comments, a lot of quotes from the Bible, and I've read the Bible. I know what it says, but I don't take the Bible literally. I take it figuratively, and I do believe that we are all created equal in God's eyes. So the subject that I feel like is the elephant in the room is racism. And this is in light of what happened this week. I think it was on Memorial Day, May the 25th. And it's regarding the death of George Floyd there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've all seen the news reports. We've seen him when he was arrested and handcuffed. And he did not resist arrest. He was very peaceful. I could tell that he was, trying to plead his case to the officer. Apparently, he had been suspected of giving a counterfeit $20 bill inside that Cobb grocery. So the employees there called the police, and I don't think, I really don't believe that George knew that it was a counterfeit $20 bill. Because, I mean, he didn't give the $20 bill and then get in his car and speed off or anything. He was still there outside the store when the police got there. I know when I had a little booth at the flea market in Kissimmee, um, actually another vendor purchased something, and it was a $20 bill. And I mean, it looked legitimate to me. I would have had no reason to think that it was counterfeit until I took it to the bank. And I found out that there was a counterfeit bill in my little deposit there. So I'm not even sure that a normal person like you or I could even detect a counterfeit bill. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about what happened after he was arrested. Now, why didn't this Officer Chauvin just put him in the back seat of the patrol car? That's standard protocol. But no, this white supremacist and the other 3 or 4 officers there that were with him, they did not treat this man with respect, and did not even treat him like a human being. The pictures that we have seen on the news of him being pinned down and Officer Chauvin's knee on his neck, and then from the back version you can see where he is also pinned down by the knees of the other officers. And they just outright murdered this man in cold blood, is what I think. Um, I mean, racism today is, it's the definition of racism is when one feels that they are superior to another race, or that another race is inferior to them. And uh, I grew up in segregated South Mississippi in the 50s. I was born in 1951. So even by the time I was 3 or 4 years old, I have videos talking about Maggie, how much I loved my black babysitter who was named Maggie. And from what I can remember, I think I was about 4 years old, and Mother and Daddy would go out to the juke joints, and out there on Highway 49 there between Hattiesburg and Gulfport, there was some old juke joints, and one was called Toot and Tell It. And they would go there and have some drinks, and I guess they had an old country band or something in there, and they would drink and party, and they would leave me and Bobby Nell, my oldest 4 year older than me sister, with Maggie. And Maggie Jr. She lived over there across the tracks in what we call, the Negro quarters is what they were. And Maggie Jr.'s house, it was just an old rundown shack, and I can remember we would go there and pick up Maggie, and I would be so happy that I was going to get to spend some time with Maggie Jr. And that really was her last name, Maggie Jr. So Maggie would come to the house, and I remember sitting on her lap, and she had big boobs, and I would just cuddle up to her, and she would hug me and kiss me and love on me and rub the back of my neck and my hair and play little games with me and everything. And this was something that Dora, my mother never did. And Maggie would tell me that she loved me, and I loved Maggie, and I still do. And I will link the video underneath the story that I tell about Maggie. But she would reach in her bra and pull out a handkerchief, and she would unroll it and take out a quarter and give it to me. And then she would give one to Bobby too. And I don't imagine she got paid more than 50 cents or $1 to come and babysit us. But I loved Maggie, and Mother and Daddy and all of them would tease me and pick on me about Maggie. And I don't know if it was because they were jealous, because they knew how much I loved her, but they would say, "Oh, you're drinking chocolate milk from Maggie's ninnies," is what they called her breast. And that just hurt me so bad in my heart, because I really did love her, and she loved me. So racism is very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely abhor racism. Um, I mean, when I was a child and we would go to the doctor, and we would go in, there would be two separate doors, and one said whites and one said coloreds. And black then back then they weren't called blacks; they were called coloreds. And I always wondered, well, why do the coloreds have to sit in a different waiting room than what we do? It just didn't make sense to me. And the black children went to a different school than what we did, and the schools weren't integrated until the year after I graduated, which I graduated in 1969, and the schools were integrated in 1970. But racism is everywhere, every day, every hour. And a lot of us don't see it because I know most of my subscribers, y'all are my age or older, and we probably are in our homes a lot. We don't get out that much. And when we do go out, we go to the same grocery store, and, we're creatures of habit. So we probably don't witness racism until we see something like we did this week on TV. So I doubt the family of George Floyd will ever see this video, but I want you to know that my heart goes out to you, and I am so sorry. You have my deepest sympathy. It's just a horrific thing that what happened to your brother and your son, and I believe he has a little 6 year old daughter, and I'm just so sorry. And let's just have a moment of silence now. I have a lot of prayer warriors out there, and I just want y'all to pray for this family. And I also said a little prayer for our nation, because our nation needs to be healed from this horrific thing that is happening. And a lot of these acts of racism don't get reported on TV. So there's a lot of it that goes on that we don't even know about. We don't even have witness to. But to see Mr. Floyd pinned down on the ground like that with that Officer Chavin's knee in his neck and him saying over and over, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I think the more he said it, the deeper the officer dug his knee into his neck. And then the officer, I realized that the district attorney had to charge him with something, but he charged him with third-degree murder. That doesn't fit the crime, in my opinion. I did look up the statutes for Minnesota law. Um, let's see, what does it say? Third-degree murder. He was charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. And his name is Derek Chauvin. The other officers that stood there and watched, and I believe they should be charged with attempted murder or accessory to murder. That is Thomas Lane, Tu Teo, and Alexander Kuhn. They stood there and watched. And there were bystanders, saying, let him go, he can't breathe. They couldn't call the police. The police were already there. They had already been called. And they were, standing there watching Mr. Floyd be murdered. So third-degree murder is whoever without intent to effect the death of any person causes the death of another by perpetrating an act eminently dangerous to others and evincing a depraved mind without regard for human life is guilty of murder in the third degree. But this says whoever without intent. It's obvious that this officer had intent. He definitely had intent to murder Mr. Floyd. And it says that it is an intent or premeditation. He was also charged with second-degree manslaughter. Well, it's premeditated when you sit there for 8 minutes with your knee on somebody's back waiting for them to draw their last breath. He had time to realize, God, I'm doing something wrong here. I better stop. But no, he purposely and with intent killed Mr. Floyd. But as you can see, I'm upset about this. I've had it on my mind ever since it happened. And I was just referring back to Dr. Martin Luther King. It was on August the 28th, 1963, when he delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech there at the March on Washington. And it was for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. But I don't even think it has even lessened any since 1963. But his speech, I want to read some of it to you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I feel the same way, that I have a dream that one day my little grandson Isa and my little granddaughter Ife, who are biracial children, that they will live in a world free from racism and that they will be judged on their character and not on the color of their skin. So I just want to thank y'all for being here tonight. And please give me a thumbs up, and y'all just keep on coming back. Good night, guys.